Good morning, Budapest. How are you doing today? Fine. Good to hear. I'm really proud to be here, and I just talked about what makes me proud working with Atlassian. It's not about the tools. It's about you. It's about the clients, about how you bring that to life, and it's really an honor to be here in the Eastern European part. I know there are many things to discuss for your region, and I'm happy to follow up with all the discussions later today and in the evening, so I think that would be a really interesting conversation. I'm here today to talk a bit more about artificial intelligence and machine learning. So that's something we at Atlassian invested a lot of thoughts, time, acquisitions to get traction on that topic. I think that's an interesting thing, especially moving clients to cloud or finding use cases on that topic. I will just tell you what you can expect today. So first of all, I dig into a little bit more how work will change in the future using AI. So if I'm talking about AI, I just include machine learning. We know all that's a little bit different. So that's what I want to start with, and then copy that on service management. So what does it mean for service management? And at the end, I would give you a glance what we from Atlassian have put our thoughts in and how it does it look in our product. So I have just a quick run through what we already applied to our solution and what the strategies on that. And at the end, I have some time left or spared on the one side to capture your questions, and we can start the discussion right on the stage, following that later on. So, it's called Rethinking Service Management, and I'm really convinced that AI will change how we live service management. Think about what the agents are doing, how they are overwhelmed with requests and all this stuff. This will change dramatically in future. So, and the question is, or the question I would like to start is how AI would change the way we work. And just a spoiler, we don't know. So, and that's exactly where we differentiate us from the AI. So, our imagination. So, how should future work would look like? Who should it look like? What the ethics in there? So that's something which is really important, and we can bring on the table. So, if you don't know about how it will change, what can you do? So, what I did is I asked ChatGPT how the future of work would change or look like. So just need to find the answer. You know, if you are asking ChatGPT, you get 2 pages or so on that, and I think that's too much for this keynote. So I've asked ChatGPT, make it shorter. And the answer is, AI will change the way we work by automation of tasks, improving the decision-making process, personalizing the experience, and enhancing the collaboration, and creating new job opportunities. If you listen carefully, ChatGPT doesn't answer the question. And I'm pretty sure ChatGPT doesn't know how it will change in future as well. Just a question to you. Talked about ChatGPT. That's just one tool on the horizon because it's really popular in the press. How many of you are working with tools like ChatGPT, maybe on a weekly basis, on a daily basis, impacting your work? Just raise your hand. So I need to check. Well, I would say 30%. That's great. That's exactly what we're dealing with, getting such tools. And I touch the topic later on, what's our position within that as a human being. But we start enabling that as an early adapter and starting to work with that. And I did the same, so I reached out to my colleagues and thinking about myself, how I use, for example, ChatGPT or similar tools already. And what I've seen, or what some responses I've got was really interesting. So I'm not coding, but one of the colleagues says, hey, I'm just asking that guy, this buddy, this ChatGPT guy, correct or find the mistake in my code. This is what I plan to have with the code, and please, it doesn't run properly, so please check it. And it's really interesting that you get good answers on that. I've talked to one of my colleagues, he's 59 years old, at a dinner and said, hey, well, I'm engaged with ChatGPT, it's so great, it's improving the way you work, it's a sales guy. He said, well, I'm doing this RFP stuff, I do it all the time, so I collect this information, questionnaires, blah, blah, blah. So we split, and a week later I get a call from him and he said, hey, I had an RFP, and I've answered it in just a tenth of the time I've needed before. So I just asked ChatGPT, please do a summarize of Atlassian history. Please give me the number of employees of Atlassian. Please compare Atlassian Jira Service Management to XYZ competitors. And you get good information out of that. So what is it? Is it a concurrent or a competitor to yourself? No, it helps you to optimize your work. What I like very much is the thing on the bottom. The great thing is connecting all these databases you have. It's not just about getting this information out of Confluence or something else. It's about going beyond that. And one colleague from mine who's calling out to clients said, well, it's very improved. So I just, instead of researching LinkedIn for the right personas I want to address with service management, I just typed in ChatGPT, please collect all the contacts I can engage with Jira Service Management through LinkedIn. And much better, you can ask just for Hungary, just on that topic. And at the next step, please define and write a compelling message to this guy. To be honest, on the other side, I'm really sure they use the same. So please consolidate all the requests we get from vendors to get that managed. But this gives an impression how work will change, or already started to change. This leads me to the question, what is the added value of human beings? It's something I'm caring about, so because I'm coming from the philosopher's side and thinking about how to get ethics in there and all this stuff. And you can see if you send a critical question to ChatGPT, it denies to answer. So what is the added value? First of all, your passion. I have never seen ChatGPT passionate on anything. Bringing the love and the teams together. So bringing that, bringing your teams to the next level. That's nothing what ChatGPT do. There are several approaches. Some think ChatGPT is just some kind of thing which is going beyond or is going away. But some think it's the next industrial revolution, and I'm on that side. So let's start using that, and let's define how we want to work with that, with this buddy, this AI buddy on the other side. So moving the next step, so if you're talking how we want to work together, it's already touching service management, because service management is a core part of working together. You're thinking about if you ask your peer and you want an answer, you're thinking about has he an SLA on that, and can he manage that, get you a response in time, and so on. So all these relationships, working in teams together, is service management at the end. Question to you: what do you think how service management would change through AI? Any idea? It's not easy, I know. Okay, if we don't have an answer, I've asked ChatGPT again. So unfortunately, if we don't have an answer, we need to ask the system. And again, I got a lot of things, but I want just to touch some of them. And again, ChatGPT doesn't answer how that will change, so how it will look like. It more touches the bullets, what could change. So AI will transform service management by enhancing customer experience. So customer experience, your customer's experience, automating routine tasks. That sounds like scaling. Enabling intelligent decision-making, so use the power of the data you have for your decisions. Personalization of the interaction, so make it not like a computer conversation. Optimizing the workflow allocation, which means if you have agents there, how do they work with that? So that's optimized. And providing advanced data analytics, so use the power of the stuff you have in your environment. So, and exactly this is what we took on our agenda. We talk about those bullets, and we introduced Atlassian Intelligence. In Atlassian Intelligence, it's the same AI, so it's our answer across all our products, introducing artificial intelligence into our products. So if you've seen the latest shows, like the Team 23, you've already heard about that. Interesting bit is that service management has a very big impact of what it gets from Atlassian Intelligence. As we started thinking about that, and to be just honest with you, we are on the tip of the iceberg. We're just exploring the first use cases on that. We thought about how we can make it easy for the people to engage with artificial intelligence. So, and if you're talking to departments like HR, so the response we get is, well, we don't want to open a ticket. And if we hear ticket, we know already the SLA is running 48 hours. And then we get the response with some qualification of the ticket, and we get messed up. So what we thought as the first step, it's really important to pick up the people there where they are. So, and where are you collaborating? Where are you working with? I think it's clear. It's like Microsoft Teams. It's like Slack. So an important bit was to bring, first of all, the connection between those tools and the power of Jira Service Management on the other side. So the user or the requester don't need to leave their familiar environment. And one really important thing for us was to bring that free to all our clients. So it's not an additional charge you need to do to connect to that. It's fully integrated into Jira Service Management and gives you all the capabilities to start right from the beginning without any particular price you need to pay for that. Just having a look what we think how it could look like. So we're starting, first of all, connecting Teams, Slack to the power of Jira Service Management. That's the beginning. And just to mention that the next step would be to make more intelligence into that. But let's have a look how that works. So you have a channel like Help IT. So you can drop within your company, can you drop your requests, I need a new laptop, I need access XYZ and all this stuff. So that's the usual way. What happens there? Well, an agent or an IT colleague will pick that up, generates a ticket if required, or just answered it directly. What Atlassian Intelligence does is generate a ticket automatically out of this request. And the good thing is, you could get answers from your peers, and many peers could answer already the questions. But if it's not possible, then the ticket is automatically generated. An agent could pick that up and answer on that. And for sure, the agent don't want to use Teams. They want the power of SLAs, of all the things we have in Jira Service Management already. So the agent could work in Jira Service Management, and all the requests are automatically synchronized between Jira Service Management on the other side and I would say the origin where the request is coming from, in this case with Microsoft Teams. So that's just a starting point. I would say that's a prerequisite to go into what we thinking about using more artificial intelligence. And I would say the aim is how we can help the agents to solve this issue with this many requests they get. So, and what we did is, we are putting our virtual agent, this is what you've seen before, together with ChatGPT. So, the power of all the data, the information you have in your company and beyond, bringing that together I would say in a way that the user can understand. And all is included in Atlassian Intelligence, so it's one integrated part. So let's have a look at another use case. This time it's Slack, so it's working for Teams and for Slack too. So a regular question for the IT is, hey, how do I connect to the Office network? That implies VPN, all the other things around there. In the usual way, the agent picks it up, looks for a conference page where it's noted and brings that back to the user. So what's happening here is that the virtual agent, with the power of ChatGPT, answers this question. So somewhere on your conference pages, maybe somewhere else, maybe spread to different sources, maybe with outdated sources, is consolidated and brought instantly back to the user. And that's fantastic. So as I used it the first time, I was already thinking, well, let's see when I get the feedback. So the SLA is ticking, and maybe 48 hours or what else, and you get instantly the response. And that's a huge improvement of the usability for the users. I like it very much to get an answer instantly, and much more don't have this ping pong. So with asking X, Y, Z and qualify this case until I come to the point where I get an answer. So you get instantly the answer on that. So having a look, so that's just, I would say, IT-related stuff, easy thing. So now moving over to, for example, HR. So and HR questions are more, I would say, unstructured, and the answers are more unstructured. So that's the power of ChatGPT. I think in the IT segment, you have everything there, you have answers to that. But moving, for example, to HR, that's a mess. So there's a lot to do. And if you're talking to HR departments and you ask, hey, what's your daily business? And they say, well, we are dealing with requests by phone, they are in the office, they are writing emails, and all the other stuff which is required. And if you're asking, hey, what's your duty? What should you do? They say, hey, we should care about the talents. If you ask, hey, is there any time left for caring about talents? You get the answer, no, we're dealing with the requests. So said this, there's a big power. Going to departments and using that, especially if you have unstructured answers, ChatGPT is optimizing that very much. So how do I take unpaid leave? ChatGPT collects the information, gives it instantly back to the user, and refers maybe to the system where the user can do it on a self-service. No agent is involved, no HR colleague need to interact with that, which is a great improvement. So talking about that, that's a simple requests. I think that's just the starting of AI, where AI can help. But if you're going to more complex requests, like I need a new laptop, I need access to a system, you need to dig into that a little bit more deeper. You need to think about, is the client or the requester eligible to ask those questions? Is it eligible to get an access to a system? Do I need to think another things like removing access again? So that's complex. In most cases, it's not done automatically. So you need to interact as an agent, as an IT agent on that. So what we did is the next step. So one issue is, and one requirement why an agent is interacting is because the case is not qualified. If you're using a ticket system, you can cope with that. So you have a form which can capture that. But if you're using Slack or Teams, you can't prevent you from getting a question like, I would like to get access to the bike locker. So that's not qualified. The bike locker is something we have in our offices. If you're going with a bike to the office, you have a secure space where you can lock your bike that's not stolen and all this stuff. But this is nothing you get automatically. So if you have a bike and you need to request that. So this request is something which needs to be qualified because we don't know anything which location and so on. So what we added there is that the virtual agent with ChatGPT and some workflow capabilities allows to interact with the requester. So the first thing, the virtual agent asks, in which location are you asking for? So, and the user can select in this interaction. So no agent is there involved. It's just automatically. And then get the next qualification question. Okay, Sydney, we have 3 locations. In which location you want to have your bike locker? So instantly, the user get the answer, and much better, due to the connection to the system who's providing access to the bike locker, the system can automatically generate all the things behind. So this request was always, I would say, a mess. So an agent, first-level agent, need to be interacting there. A second agent, and then the special team for the bike lockering need to engage. And this is something we can remove and use the power of the people more wisely. What we integrated there is some workflow capabilities. It's easy to use. It's just drag and drop. It's so no-code stuff. So something with some training, you can give to your clients, a department like HR or other departments which are not near to IT could use that. So it's just a drag and drop workflow capabilities to show the path of qualification of a case. And all these three, so the virtual agent, qualification processes, which you can model by yourself or the client can model by themselves, and the power of, I would say, the brain of the internet with ChatGPT is the approach we built together the first use cases on. And we just introduced that by our own and done some research what that meant for us. And the result was that we saved thousands plus hours of agent interactions. And they can use this time. You think about, well, what is the agent doing then? To be closer to the SLAs, to react on these really important things, and we have it as well. So some things you can't drive through the service management process. You need immediate attention then to care about that. So that's important. And the interesting bit is, in these 1,000 hours, more than 50% of the requests we got are, I would say, buddied or helped with a virtual agent and the Power Beyond. And that's massive. Maybe you've heard about that. So this is not future. This is the status quo now in our early access. So it's in alpha currently. And please, we need your help. These are just a couple of use cases we showed we think could make sense, but we need your power. We need your power on try that out on an early access, you as a partner, you as a client, and get your thoughts on that. Remember what's the differentiation between AI and human beings? It's the imagination, what we want to do, how we want to form that. So please just use it and start working with that. Just thinking about what could be the next step. We think that's just the tip of the iceberg. So we help the user to get instantly the response or the resolution. But on the other side, thinking now on more complex things like incident management, maybe related to a change, to a problem, all this complexity, you know what I'm talking about, how complex that could be. And it's not just one agent working on that, it's a team. It's a team working on that. And you know, if you're moving through time zones or people are going on vacation, what you always need to do is to have a summary in place. And that causes or consumes many of the power of the agents, of high qualified agents, to summarize always the case if you need to hand over it to somebody. And what we did here in the first site, it's not on a coincidence, because we think we, as a software vendor, we deal with incidents and changes as well. We said, doesn't it make sense to let ChatGPT summarize that? And that's a massive power. So nobody of the agents need to think about handovers. They just can leave, hand it over, and we have an instant summarize of the case, always at the fingertip. And this is where we start to thinking about where can we take this body, ChatGPT or other tools, to help us. So you know, all these great features are cloud-based stuff. And I think that's could give you discussion points with your clients, or if you're a client as well, to think about finding use cases to move slight movements to cloud. I know that there are many, many discussions, especially for you region. And I'm coming from the Germany, Austria, Switzerland region as well, so we have the same, talking about a lot of things. I just want to say two things on that. First of all, we are fully committed as a cloud-first company to make it as secure as possible for our clients to use that. And we want to scale. So we invested now in 20K agent maximum of cloud Jira Service Management. And we have requests for 60K. That's big, big companies are looking at that. But they are fighting for everybody of us to get this bulletproof. I know if you're working with the Jira Service Management and the CMDB stuff, there are some limitations on the number of assets. We are just recently, or we're working on the 3 million to bring that to 3 million. That's a lot of assets you can bring into that. Data residency is an important topic for you as well, and for the DACH region too. And you see the latest one is Germany as a data residency. I know the marketplace stuff need to be consolidated as well, but we're on a good way there. And you see we have a lot of additional things coming on data residency, and I think that's a good thing for you. And it's not about just data residency, it's about being compliant with the regulatory. And you see, for example, BaFin, that's the authority for financial services in Germany, the EBAs for European Union. They have really high standards on IT security and data privacy for the cloud space. So we are well equipped. I think the HIPAA is not so relevant for us here, but the US guys need that, for example, as well. And for sure, we try to make your own data as secure as possible for you, and SAML SSO, and bring your own key, which is important. The only one who can access is you, so nobody else can have a look at that. I've had a chat with some other guys recently about how to make it more secure and to get ownership back, because I know if you're storing in the cloud, you're a little bit nervous what's happening in the cloud. There are many, many possibilities, and we can chat later on that, to extract that out of cloud, to be sure that you can secure your data, even though if something happens in cloud. I don't think about that, but you never know. So to make it easier for you and for your clients and for customers is that we have campaigns running currently to help starting with that. So bad service management, maybe you heard about that, is one of them. If you're using several tools for service management and you want to go that way with us, we have some benefits you can bring to you. For example, one benefit is to get you a 30% discount of the first year if you start with Jira Service Management, replacing some other solutions on that topic for the first year, and going into a 3 years contract. Thank you very much for listening. Great to get your imagination, your power back, and I'm happy to be here. So speak to you later. Bye-bye.